Good evening, Bucs Nation. We are live for the 2022 NFL Draft, and I am super excited. This is going to be an awesome night, a long night, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Just talking football with you guys, and obviously giving live reaction to every pick that is made, and analysis and just a lot of good fun. So, again, I'm your host Michael Plus, and join with me a special guest, Evan Winter. Evan, how are you doing? And how you feeling about this draft coming up?
It's draft night, man. Couldn't be better. And I think I'm with the majority of people whenever, coming into this draft, we don't know what the hell's going to happen. So, I mean, you got 8 teams with multiple picks in the first round. Granted, Schefter had the weird tweet the other day where this still doesn't really make sense, in my opinion, but say a lot of teams are looking to trade back, but not many teams are looking to trade up. So, how does that work? But anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. And when you consider the prospects that are going to be available, not just in the first round, but, later on in the draft, it's going to be interesting to see how everybody approaches it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you get, like you said, a lot of teams with multiple first round picks, and the prospects, in this class are a little bit top heavy, where not a lot of teams want to trade up for a certain player. They want to wait or try to trade back to get better value, where a lot of teams see it in the second, third, fourth round, etc. And the Bucs, at 27 could be one of those teams that are definitely trying to trade down. But it looks like we're about to get started here. They're starting the broadcast and trying to let's see if they put the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock. I know last year it took a little while for that first team to be on the clock.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll see exactly when they start this countdown. And
my bad. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was going to say the fountains are in full blast, so it looks like it might be starting soon.
Right. Yeah, it's a beautiful scene, obviously out there in Las Vegas. I was just there recently back in September of last year, and it was pretty awesome. Obviously just everything, the casinos and all the scenery, the architecture, very nice.
Yeah, it's so weird how it's like this super elegant city, even though it's Sin City.
Yeah.
It's super weird how it's like this elegant city just like in the middle of a desert. Like when they had the wide shots earlier before everything started, like you could see the buildings and the architecture and all that stuff. But then like if you kind of peered past everything, it was just like nothing.
Yeah.
So like I almost wanted to look up like how did Las Vegas start or something like that, because who the hell would have thought to put a city out there like this?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
and it works.
it does. I mean, a lot of walking. You have to walk around and do a lot of zigzagging and trying to get to your destination. But a lot of fun, a lot of interesting people for sure. So yeah, I mean, it's great that they're having the draft out there. It should be a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, I've never been to Las Vegas. I've always wanted to go, and I thought I was going to be able to get out to go, but A to Z needed me back here running the ship, and hey, I get to sit and order some good food and drink some good beer while I'm watching, so I can't really argue with that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, talk a little bit more about your site. Obviously you cover not just the Bucs but other teams, and maybe talk a little about what you're hoping for those teams, or kind of their game plans going into this.
Yeah, so A to Z sports.com. We've got 8 cities under our belt right now, 8 NFL teams from Kansas City to Green Bay, obviously Tampa Bay. And it's kind of a weird night for us because so the teams that we cover, the earliest pick is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they don't pick until 20th. So we've got a lot of dead time going on. We're trying to figure out how to fill that space, and hopefully the draft provides us with, some good stuff that we can, use to fill that space. But either way, Steelers, they could be a prime candidate to trade up for Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett. I think they would trade up for Malik Willis before they traded up for Kenny Pickett, though.
Agreed.
However, at the same time, they've always been really steadfast when it comes to their draft plans. I think, just going off the top of my head, really the most significant trade up they've had in the first round in recent history is when they traded up to get Devin Bush back in 2019, whenever the Bucs selected Devin White, the other Devin. So I could see them staying put. They really need help on the defensive line as well, even though Stephon Tuitt and the other cat, Tyson Alualu, They both return this year, but they're both getting up long in the tooth and all that good
Mm.
stuff. But when you look at a team that I really feel like is going to make a move in this first round, it's the Green Bay Packers. I talked about it a little bit, just lightly touched on it in my final Bucs mock draft that I put out today. I think they're going to try to move up to get an edge rusher.
Okay.
And I think they're going to jump Tampa Bay and trade. Now, obviously, there's a lot that goes into this, and this is just my like hypothesis at the end of the day, my theory. But I think they know that Tampa Bay is going to want a Logan Hall type player. They could use a Logan Hall type player, and I
Mm.
think they might do something. Just trade with the Titans from 28 to 26. Throw a fourth rounder in there, third rounder, whatever it might cost. It's not a lot. And the Packers have 2 fourth rounders. They have 1 third rounder. So they've got plenty of picks to do it. And I think they're going to take a Logan Hall. I think they'll take a receiver with 22. And then I think they're going to try to make some kind of move to get a pass rusher at 28 because they lost to Darius Smith in the offseason. So, yeah, when it comes to team moving up, that would be out of the teams we cover. That would be my betting point, so to speak. And our other writer, Zach Reagan, who helps cover the Packers, he thinks the same. So we'll either both be wrong or we'll both be right tonight. So it'll be interesting to see. No hedging bets on this one.
Yeah, and when we look at the Buccaneers, obviously, I feel when you just look at all the clues, it looks like they're trying to trade back. They want to get more picks. Only 6 picks going into this weekend. Definitely want to get more top 100 picks and try to get more value for what they want to do as far as cover. Ideally they would want to just trade back and still stay in the first round because a lot of teams value that 5th-year contract. So it'll be very intriguing to see how what kind of direction they go into as far as do they stay at that pick. Again, it depends on how this board's going to fall and who's available, but I have a feeling they're definitely going to be on the phones and try to make some moves here, later in the evening. But the top half of this draft, I think, is going to be very intriguing. There's been a lot of rumors and just things as far as Trayvon Walker going first overall. I mean, what's your opinion on Trayvon Walker? Being the first pick and versus Aiden Hutchinson. I know that's been like the big topic.
Yeah, so it's been a weird experience watching Trayvon Walker's rise over the last month or so because his college production just simply isn't there. Aiden Hutchinson is. Now, granted, Trayvon's got a higher ceiling. He looks more explosive on tape, so on and so forth. But do you take the risk on that super athletic guy, that guy that might turn into something over a more proven product in Aiden Hutchinson? And now the whole picking first overall comes into play when it comes to talking the dynamics of that because you want to hit your number 1 overall pick, no matter what. You want that guy to at least be some type of a foundational player moving forward. You want him to be on your team for 10 years, but you also want that ceiling to be really, really high. Regardless, the one thing that bothers me about Trayvon Walker was the lack of production. I know Georgia's defense asks its players to do a lot of different things, but with the natural ability and the traits that you see on tape, you would have thought at some point he would have taken over for a good period of time, 4 or 5 weeks here where he just absolutely dominates and so on and so forth. And that never really kind of happened. So, but if the traits are there and if he's coachable, then that's enough to take him. So overall, Trent Baalke has shown a habit, for lack of a better word, for taking these guys with super high upside. So, at the end of the day, it makes sense. And you can't hate on them too much, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, it's just going to be another case of the Jags being the Jags and, just totally screwing things up big time.
Right. I mean, I can see where they're, trying to think out this process. Oh, he's got great athletic traits. He killed the combine. Like he did things that no one has done at that size and that position as far as just numbers, speed, everything, the length. It's a lot to work with. And, some coaches feel like, if I have the athletic part of the game already there and I can coach up the technique and utilize the player in a better way for them to be successful, then, they're going to feel, that's the way to go. But if it was me, I'm looking at a guy like Aiden Hutchinson who has the production, has the athletic traits. I mean, a lot of people don't think he's athletic. He had a better, he had a better 3-cone than Trayvon Walker, so it's like he has all the tools to be successful and should be a very good pick. Now you go into like more of the, I guess, sources and rumors. Now they're saying like, Hutchinson could fall to the Jets at number 4 or number 5. And I'm like, man, that's crazy that,
Yeah.
Kayvon Thibodeau could be number 2. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. It looks like we're officially on the clock here as we're getting started. And guys, if you just joined us, again, this is Real Bucs Talk here. We're live on YouTube, also on Bucs Report. Be sure to hit that like button, give us a subscribe, comment. Just feel free to comment whatever you're thinking of tonight. I know we got some people here in the chat. Let's get some questions in here. Let's see what's going on. I know G Vegas here had a very good comment. Who do you think falls out of the top 10? You have any names that you think could be potentially falling here?
That's a really good question. Man, right off the top of my head, I'm trying to think. Honestly, I could see Tavon or not Tavon, Thibodeau falling a little bit, just
Mhm.
mostly because, and I don't buy into this at all, but just because of the whole interview thing, like it's so weird how the media and scouts and just the NFL in general, the NFL landscape, they always want that storyline. They always want that memorable player, that guy that's got a lot of personality. But then as soon as that personality starts coming through, they're like, whoa, 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 hold on, man. This might be too much. It's just
Yeah.
like, it's so weird. And
Yeah.
so he could be a guy that falls out of the top 10. I don't think he will.
Mhm.
But if I'm looking at anybody falling out of the top 10, and this is kind of being lazy and kind of taking the low hanging fruit, but I think it would be Jameson Williams.
Mhm.
Just the ACL, not knowing when exactly he's going to be ready. I heard
Right.
somebody talking on NFL Network earlier today that Atlanta would take him at number 8 because they need a receiver. They're that desperate, which makes total sense because they are that desperate. But if he's not ready till October or November, and then you don't really know, and I know Atlanta's looking towards the future, but a top 10 pick, man, I want that guy on the field as soon as possible. And maybe Arthur Blank and Arthur Smith, Arthur squared, maybe
Mhm.
they've had talks where he's like, okay, you've got a couple years, so on and so forth. Obviously, we don't know, but he's definitely a guy I can see falling out top 10 just because of simply the knee injury.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, if we want to go back to maybe a prospect that was like supposed to be like a top 5 pick, Kyle Hamilton, it seems
Yep.
like, a lot of teams have cooled on him and really I think it's just the position he plays. Safety isn't a position that, is
Right.
really valued high, especially in the top of the draft, unless you're, a same player like, Sean Taylor or someone like that who, goes in the top half.
Isn't it wild how quickly the safety